Sadly, escrow wire fraud is a relatively rare but debilitating scam that's put upon homebuyers by hackers and fraudsters. And here's how it works. There's an article from CNBC how one family's nightmare illustrates the growing threat. And this threat has actually increased in the last 5-10 years. We've seen this as far back as 2010 and before. But the way it works is that if you're buying a house, you're going to get an email for instructions to wire money to the escrow company, right? The closing company that's closing your deal, they're going to need your money, right? They're going to need your either down payment, or if you're paying cash, you're going to need your money for buying the house. It's at least tens of thousands, sometimes hundreds of thousands of dollars. If you're buying a $700,000 house and you have a 20% down payment, that's $140,000, maybe more with closing costs that you're wiring to the escrow company. And they want that money wired because they don't take personal checks, they don't take cashier's checks. They want to have a wire transfer because it's the only secure way that they can receive money. But what happens is hackers will discover that a home is being purchased, and they'll send an email to the buyer to make it look like they're the closing company and say, wire the money to this account. So you're the buyer, you get an email that says, hey, this is XYZ title company, XYZ escrow company, here's your wiring instructions. You wire $150,000 to this instructions, and then your title company calls you and say, hey, where's the money? Well, I sent it to you. Well, we never got it. Come to find out, that email was a scam, and that's what happened to this family in this article. It's not the only article. You'll see that there's many of them. The FBI says the crime is on the rise. Criminals set their sights on high-end markets, New York, Los Angeles, and Palm Beach. Hackers infiltrate legitimate email conversations and send fake wiring instructions. They hack into the emails of the title companies. Sometimes it's the realtor that's the loose end, because title companies are kind of a financial institution and they protect their emails, but the realtor who's in on that conversation may not have the same email protections. And in this case, it was a $1.4 million home. They sent $900,000. Imagine that from Bank of America, his account. $900,000. Let that sink in. They wired their money. Now, for most people, the home purchase, the down payment or the purchase, is the vast majority of their available cash. It might be all the money you have. You might be putting all your money in the house, right? So that money was lost. And in many cases, it's the person's only money. We'll talk in a minute how to protect yourself against this. There's a very simple method to prevent this from happening. Bankrate has an article about how to protect yourself from this. Make sure you verify the account. It's very vague. Talk about how 150 million was stolen in 2018. It's cyber related. How it works. We just talked about how it works. So how can you prevent this from happening? Well, it's real simple. Very, very simple solution. When you get your wiring instructions from the title company, first of all, call up the title company. Make sure that the digits on the bank account that they gave you are correct. Read it over the phone, have them read it back, make sure it's correct. That's probably going to eliminate 80 and 90% of these frauds. But the next thing you can do is send a test wire. Send $500 to the title company from your bank. Go to your bank, send a wire transfer, and you have to do this early enough where you can get it back, the results back from the title company, and call the title company the next day and say, hey, did you get my $500? Yep, we got it. All's good. Okay, now you go back to the bank and have them send your major wire transfer, the full wire transfer, to the same account. Right? Just have them send it to the same place they sent it last time. Now you know that transfer pathway is good because it's going to the title company. All you put at risk is $500. So if accidentally you replied to the wrong email, or maybe even if the scammer used an account with the same last four of the account number or did something to make it look fake, if the title company gets your $500, then you know that pathway is good. Right? So it's a very simple way to prevent losing $1 million or hundreds of thousands of dollars. Do a test transfer of a few $100s or a small amount. Make sure that goes through, and then use it to the same pathway to send your your entire transaction. Again, get good legal advice. Don't take our word for it. Do other due diligence and take all the preventive measures you need. But this is one way you can add on to your other protective measures to make sure you don't become victim and have this, what they call a nightmare of losing all your house money, because it may be more than losing your house money. You may lose your house, right? Because if you're wiring money to buy your house, that means that you probably sold your old house or you're selling your old house and you may not have a place to live. So it may be more than just losing $200,000. It may be being homeless because now you don't have a place to live. You sold your old house. You can't buy the new house without the money, so that deal's going to be dead. Whatever down payment or deposit you gave for the house might be, kept because you breached the contract. So it may be more than just losing the money, which would be bad enough. Now you have no place to live. So this is one potential technique you can use to protect yourself against losing all or most of your life savings through an escrow fraud scheme by doing a little test transaction, making sure it goes through, go back to the bank in person. Don't try to do it over the phone. Don't try to do it using your online. Go to the bank in person and say, hey, remember that wire transfer I sent last week? Send this money to the same exact one. And that way you're not worrying about transposing numbers, using the wrong account number, and your title company and your bank can both help you protect against wire fraud.